The Local Live is brought to you by BizG87, an art gallery and space in Larchmont for artists and entrepreneurs.
Tonight on The Local Live, Westchester Joint Waterworks says its recent violation is no emergency. Art and science come together at the heart of Co-op exhibit. Estelle Gourmet celebrates Women's Day. And on tonight's roundtable, we talk to the Women's Empowerment Institute in Westchester. Good evening, it's Thursday, March 28th. I'm Alexandria Garcia, and welcome to The Local Live. Drinking water from Westchester Joint Waterworks was below standard recently, but there was no emergency, according to a statement from the utility. In a recent quarterly sample at 2 sites, the levels of haloacetic acids in the water were slightly above state and federal drinking standards. Haloacetic acids are disinfection byproducts of chlorine treatment to water. On Monday, Mamaroneck Village Mayor Tom Murphy explained the letter sent out to WJWW customers.
The good news for the village of Mamaroneck is those 2 testing sites are not where the village of Mamaroneck's water comes from. So the water that was used by the residents of the village of Mamaroneck was not over the limit. So you don't have to be concerned about health concerns if you live in the village of Mamaroneck. And what was going on was there was too much chlorine in the water. They haven't figured out yet where the chlorine came from. We put in a certain amount of chlorine. A certain amount of chlorine comes from New York City. There's some speculation that New York City added more chlorine and didn't tell us. There's other speculation that it had to do with natural occurrences in the water. What you got was the letter that they got really was, hey, you might want to look at this in your system. And we felt that it incumbent to at least let everybody know what was going on. So if you lived in the village of Mamaroneck and you got that letter, it was out of an abundance of caution, and I think it was the right thing to send that letter to the people of the village of Mamaroneck.
As expiration of Mamaroneck Village's contract with Sport Time approaches, there is new attention on the club's December 2016 proposal for Harbor Island Park. Mayor Tom Murphy explained in a recent public email that the 2016 plan proposed only 5 green clay courts, rather than the 8 red ones currently run by Sport Time. The plan included a turf field, enclosed seasonally, and an outdoor instructional pool. The private multi-sport club would require more space than Sport Time currently has. Murphy stated that year-round tennis will remain a top priority for the village, which owns the courts and bubbles. He also solicited public comments as the board considers what to do following the end of Sport Time's contract. And in more changes, the Mamaroneck Village Board reiterated its support for outdoor dining in the business district and is working on new, more manageable regulations. Earlier this month, officials discussed authorizing outdoor dining areas on public sidewalks, provided all requirements are met by restaurant owners.
Dozens of businesses in this community who depend upon this. And here we are in March debating whether to take it away from them. It's absurd. Mm-hmm. Based upon what? A couple of people complained? This isn't like something, people come here for that. People come here to enjoy the restaurants. People come here to sit on the avenue. People come here to see their friends as they walk by. That's part of the fabric of who we are.
They require waiters and waitresses or busing, however we word that. 5 feet. I assume it's, I don't have it right here, but it's like 5 feet up to 19 feet, 11,
10 to 20 feet.
then, okay.
So we have 2 categories.
And I'll make those 2 changes in the sidewalk cafe law here, and then we can go back and revisit the rest of the sidewalk cafe.
Okay. A modified version of the sidewalk cafe law will be discussed at a meeting in April. In the Mamaroneck School Superintendent's proposed budget for the 2019-2020 academic year, Dr. Robert Schaps recommended a district-wide increase of guidance counselors and psychologists. This includes a director of student life at Homix for the social and emotional needs of students, along with facilitating culturally responsive teaching. However, these plans do not yet satisfy the demands of concerned parents who have spoken out in regards to hiring diversity specialists.
I assume we have protocols, but for some reason they're not working. A couple of suggestions were put in place in emails that we respond in X days, and the investigation will be completed in Y days. And those kind of protocols are put in place and must be abided to. We shouldn't have situations, obviously, where we're getting emails in December for incidents and nothing's being reported, and they kind of go into this, who knows where, into the atmosphere, and nobody hears anything. It's just not acceptable. So in terms of putting those protocols in place, there was a lot of talk about staffing and how the additional staffing is not, for whatever reason, doing the job that needs to be done, for lack of a better word, that we don't seem to have someone who has an expert.
And on tonight's roundtable, Maura Carlin sits with 3 members of the Women's Empowerment Institute of New York.
Good evening. I'm Maura Carlin. Welcome to the Roundtable. Tonight I'm talking to representatives of the Women's Empowerment Institute, or WEI. With me are the founder, Gina Avila, Dr. Katie and Reed, a youth program consultant for the group, and Kristen Reiche, the director of the Girls Empowerment Group. Ladies, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Let's start with, tell us what WEI, again, that's the Women's Empowerment Institute. What is it, and who's it supposed to serve?
Yeah, first, thank you for having us. We're really excited to be able to share all the amazing programs and what WEI is doing for the Westchester community. We are a nonprofit organization where we offer 2 programs. And the reason why we developed WEI was because we find that there's a huge need in Westchester County for women to be able to come together, receive low cost or free professional development or personal development and networking opportunities. One of the programs that we offer is a monthly empowerment group where we get together the last Friday of every month. And we offer the free professional development or personal development. And it's created a huge movement, right? A sisterhood of women with all different socioeconomical backgrounds, races, to support one another. So it's been great.
And I just want to add, if anyone out there wants to participate in the conversation or has a question or a comment, you can get in touch with us. You know, the contact information is on whatever screen you're watching. Now, I know you were about to say something, Dr. Reed. Sorry to interrupt the flow with that, but what is your role?
Good question. So thanks for having us here. It's a pleasure to be on this platform to talk about what we do, what we offer to the girls in the community. So in a nutshell, I provide consulting to the program, particularly the youth program, the Girls Empowerment Program, around implementation of the program to ensure that we're meeting the needs that we set out, or the goal per se, and to ensure that we are evaluating, or we have data point to ensure that we're meeting the goal, and for later in the future to apply for funding. And so we have the evidence to support that this program is well needed in the community and more resources are needed.
Now,
Thank
Kristen,
you.
You're in charge of the Girls Empowerment Program.
Yes,
so
I
why
am.
don't you describe the program and who it's for?
Absolutely. So the program is for girls between the ages of 13 and 17 years old. The curriculum is designed to help them with their self-esteem, their self-confidence, as well as their social and emotional skill sets, right? So the purpose is to provide a supportive, non-judgmental, all-inclusive environment so that the girls feel as they're going through, different parts of the lesson plan, such as addressing adversity or strategizing success or leadership, that they feel comfortable and confident in that environment to be able to work on those skills and also feel like they're building these relationships, as Gina mentioned before, a sisterhood of girls supporting them within the program.
How often do the girls meet? And, it's a wide age range. There's a difference between a 13-year-old and a
Absolutely.
17-year-old. How do you get them to work together?
Absolutely. And that's a great question, because what I love about this program is it really allows the older girls to step into that leadership role.
So they're actually
and
getting experience mentoring.
Absolutely, right in the program. And that's really what this program is about. It's less of a school setting where they're learning a particular lesson plan. It's more of a conversation, and it's more of them being able to act out and take action on what it is that they desire to, who it is that they desire to be, and what it is that they desire to do. So you get the girls to really take action on being those mentors and step into that leadership role.
Now, is it geared toward getting them into, we're going to stick with the girls for a moment, but getting them into a career path, or getting them to be members of the community or family? You know, what is the focus?
I love this question. So really, it's for the girls to do and be the best version of themselves. Right? So it's not necessarily career driven. However, we will support them, and we actually have a program that Gina can discuss, a third program that we're going to be running that allows the girls to transition from the Girls Empowerment Group into that more career driven, skill set driven programming. However, this program in particular is all about empowering the girls to, again, become the best version of themselves so that whatever path they end up choosing, they are able to support themselves on that path.
Okay, and so far, since Dr. Reed, you're doing the assessment of how it's meeting the needs. How's it doing?
I would say they're doing pretty well.
You put her on the spot.
I did.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the program rolled out last Friday, so second session is this Friday. I think the program is doing well thus far. It's meeting the objective for that particular session that was run. And in any program, there's always room for improvement. So that's why I'm here, to help the program meet its goal and address any little knickknacks that the program can tighten up.
Have you seen things that you're seeing in the women's group that you wish they had addressed when they were younger?
Absolutely, and I think that's one of the discussions that we constantly have as volunteers, the board members, anyone that's really the heart of WEI that's been supporting this mission. We find that the reason why we really believe in the program is because we would have benefited tremendously if we would have had this program when we were younger. I migrated from South America when I was 7, didn't speak the language, was raised by a single mom, and faced a lot of adversity. I was pregnant at 16, had my first child then, and I know if it was for a program like this, my life's trajectory would have changed completely. So we all really, really wholeheartedly believe in the program because it's changing their lives. We see it.
Do the participants tend to come from a certain socioeconomic or geographical area?
I love the diversity of it. What do you think, Kristen?
Yeah, so as of right now, obviously all throughout Westchester, we're hosting our meetings within White Plains. So I would say roughly, 10-mile radius within that area. But we have a lot of diversity, which makes for really beautiful conversations amongst the girls, right? Especially when it comes to, adversity, conflict resolution, just their self-confidence in general, who's speaking at a given point. And that's what allows the girls to really build these authentic relationships with one another, right? And work on skills such as not being judgmental, And right there, you're able to really see the girls interact with one another and understand each other on a better level as girls, as nothing other than just young girls.
So I'm curious, how are you doing on the being non-judgmental?
Honestly, pretty well. Specifically because when I start the program, I set a standard along with them, right? So we talk about how it feels to be judged, and then we have a conversation around that. In the first session, I had the girls create their own girl code, and it was them who had created it for themselves to be able to say, this is what I wouldn't want to feel, so this is how I will treat the girls in the program around me. And so you establish those standards these girls can apply not only to this program, but outside of the program as well.
Well, that's what I wanted to know, the carryover.
Yeah. And I also love the fact that it's outside of their school and their specific community, right? Now, they're developing and creating a sisterhood where they feel supported, even if it is once a week. And then once they transition as alumni of the program, they continue to see us on a monthly basis.
Okay, we are actually going to take a quick break now. When we come back, we're going to continue our discussion about the Women's Empowerment Institute. If you all have any questions, send them in. You can email, call, contact information are on your screen, so stay tuned.
Do you need space for a meeting, conference, or presentation? LMC TV has what you need. Our 768 square foot studio space is ideal for many types of productions, readings, recitals, rehearsals, and workshops. The space has video recording capability, as well as daylight temperature lighting, green screen, and stage. 2 additional rooms at 208 and 156 square feet can be used for any of your needs. Auditions, meetings, classes, workshops, one-on-one instructions, and more. Both rooms feature video monitors with Chromecasting capability, making presentations a breeze. To reserve one or more of our spaces,
Contact us at reserve@lmctv.org.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes and you come to mine. This is it, first impression, my way in. But can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or being the first one to always step up. No, that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume and discover new ways to develop great talent that is dedicated, hardworking, and determined like me.
Welcome back. We're going to resume our conversation about Women's Empowerment Institute with a question from a viewer, which is, why is empower your action word?
Empower. I believe it's important to learn how to empower ourselves, because a lot of times we look for others to empower us. Once you learn how to empower yourself, you really set yourself free, right? And you learn how to adapt all those skills that you learn. When you attend, of course, and I go back to the programs, the wonderful programs that we offer as a young girl through the GEG program, the Girls Empowerment Group program, and also through the Women's program.
Anyone want to add anything?
Yeah, so definitely the word empowerment is very critical, especially with youth. One of the emphasis around empowerment youth is around self-efficacy, the ability for them to own something or have the ability to carry out beyond the setting. Because at the end of the day, we want to provide youth with the resource, but if we're not there, we want them to transcend the program beyond in their personal life, school, and so forth. So.
Do you find that when they come in, and we're talking about the youth again, but do you find when the girls come in that they have not been empowered, that they don't feel they have any control over where they're going or what they're doing?
That's a good question. One of the things that we had implemented is to assess the girls' self-esteem, right? So we assess what their self-esteem up front, and at the end of the program, we will also assess to see what change has occurred as a result of the program. And when we talk about empowerment, self-esteem is very critical to adolescent well-being and identity, along with self-confidence. And I'm quite sure Kristen could talk more about that.
Well, recognizing this is somewhat of a self-selected group because they've decided to do this, correct, or their parents have decided that they're going to do this, perhaps they're starting with lower self-esteem, and that is why they have been signed up for this?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You know, we can take one of the girls who had joined in last week, that we had met last week. She had seen one of our flyers, and when she saw the flyer and she looked over, you know, the curriculum, what it is that we're looking to help the girls build for themselves, she immediately, you know, sent me an email and was like, please, you know, I know it's past the deadline, but I would love to be a part of this. I really struggle with my friendships in my life. I really struggle with feeling supported. I struggle with my self-confidence, and so I would love to be able to participate in a program like this. And I was like, you know, absolutely, we would love. That's exactly, you know, the purpose behind this program.
In this day and age, how, if at all, do you think WEI addresses or helps people address with Me Too movement issues?
That's a very critical question, given what we've seen in the media. One of the program or a session that we host is addressing healthy relationship, also talking about sexual health. It's very critical because it's around that time where adolescents kind of develop their identity around their self, their image. So we want to ensure that we are, you know, putting forth the resources and the skill set so you can make informed decisions should they, you know, encounter a situation around the Me Too or someone attempt to put forth anything that would violate who they stand for. Yeah.
And do you I mean, is the goal to teach them to stand up and say no or report and not be afraid of consequences?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Okay. One of the things that struck me on your website that I had to ask about, I think it was with the women's group, teaching them the importance of bragging.
Yes.
Something many people, well, of a certain generation are not so great at. Explain why that's so important.
It's so important. I think being a girl, you're always taught to sit tight, keep quiet, listen, be attentive, and you find that if you're confident enough to share the wealth of knowledge that you have and maybe share your expertise, that you're bragging, and that's a bad thing. So we want to empower women to actually share all the greatness that they are and share all the experience and the education and how amazing they are. And every time we have a conversation with anyone that's new on the board or that's a new volunteer, we want them to practice how to brag about themselves. And it's interesting. We have an attorney on the board, and the first time that I introduced her to Kristen, I said, tell us about yourself. And very basic, I know Gina since she was younger, and that was it. I said, oh, no. You go back and you tell us everything you've done. You have a law degree. Now you work for, X 500 Fortune company. Tell us about yourself. Be proud. So absolutely, we want to empower women and everyone and the girls to start at a young age because it's practice.
Agree.
To brag, but also to be accepting when other women are really confident and brag about themselves.
So you have men on your board. Do they have problems describing themselves the same way as the example you just gave?
Never. You tell them, you give them the opportunity to talk about themselves and they'll take it. And some of them even overreact or they exaggerate a little bit, right? Because they sit on that platform. It's a man's world out there to begin with.
In 2019, you think it still is?
Absolutely. We've made progress, but we have a long way to go.
Even though statistics show more women go to and graduate college than men, you still, in the work world, it's still man's world?
Definitely. I mean, we see a huge pay gap. You could have two person, a male and a female, have the same credential, and at the end of the day, there's a pay gap difference. Ideally, most of the time, the men will be paid at a higher rate, and they have the same credentials. So we definitely see, as Gina said, we have a long way to go. Of course, we have made progress. We're here. I mean, if you think about probably 60 years ago, we wouldn't be at the table as we are now.
How much would you attribute that to the bragging issue, or not taking credit for other people's work?
Yeah, absolutely. The confidence, it goes back to that, right? The self-esteem and being confident enough to advocate for yourself, but also go for those positions, and think that you're good enough to be able to qualify for those positions. And don't get me wrong, we need men to also be on our side, right? Because they hold those positions. And without them giving us the opportunity or creating those opportunities for us, it's going to be challenging. So we definitely need to also have men supporting the women's movement and women's rights, 100%.
We have to take another quick break, and we'll be back with more discussion about women's empowerment. Just a moment. Stay with us.
LMC TV Media Center is the spot for your next party. Lights, camera, liftoff. The possibilities are endless. Space adventures, video gaming, whatever they imagine, LMC can achieve. Kids of all ages have fun making their own videos in our professional TV studio. LMC TV is the perfect spot for your creative kid to celebrate with friends and make a memory that will last forever in video. Party themes can range depending on their desire. Fun news shows, music videos, stop motion, overall silliness, our cameras can capture it all. Contact us to book a party today.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? But now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Welcome back. What advice do you have for women who are beginning or considering beginning their second or third acts in terms of career? Who've had careers, moved on to do one thing and need to move to do something else, and maybe even are, definitely are older. What would you advise?
Yeah, I find that I'm a huge supporter of Lean In, the Lean In movement by Sheryl Sandberg. And if you want something, you have to go for it. If you're not happy doing what you're doing, there's so many things that would be aligned with what your interests are and your talents and what you actually enjoy doing day in and day out. So I think it's important to lean in. Let people in your circle know that you're looking for a career change. Networking and having a support system is huge. So it's one of the reasons why we have the monthly empowerment group meeting. So for women that are looking for a change in career, a new opportunity, they should definitely come to our meetings on a monthly basis because they'll have access to, a sisterhood and really the support system that they'll need.
And how do you do that while you're still, let's say, working in one place, but you're supposed to network and you don't want them to know that you've got one foot out the door?
Yeah, networking is really building relationships, right? And the great thing about the program is that it's run, yes, it's one day out of the month, right? So it's not really going to interfere with their life, their personal life or their career life, and it's in the evening. So they'll be able to leave work and we offer dinner. So they'll have a bite, do the networking, and then receive the personal and professional development. What would you ladies say about women that are reinventing themselves or want to do something different?
For me personally, it's fulfillment at the end of the day, right? And so if you are, especially as women, because we are so much more in touch with our emotions, when you are extremely stressed out, when you are incredibly unhappy, that bleeds into every other aspect of your life, whether you're a mom, whether you're a wife, whether you're, a sister. So it's so important that you feel fulfilled and passionate and excited about what you're doing, whether that be your career or whether that be a hobby that you have on the side, but I personally, I call it a pillow hit. At nighttime, when your head hits the pillow, you have that sense of, wow, I really loved my day today. I loved what I did. I love the impact that I had, and I love how I showed up. And it's so important that women feel that way.
But many people get stuck because they've got kids and they've got a job and they need the money to pay the rent. And how do I have the energy, the time, or anything else to go forward? So what do you do? We'll go with you, Dr. Reed.
Good question. I'm here, I'm sitting. I wasn't too long in this boat. Just having a strong family support is very critical. Family doesn't have to mean the one you were born into. It could also be one that you have developed along the way, where your friends are a part of your family. So ensuring that you have a strong network to support you, because at the end of the day, you have to make sacrifice. And so how do you meet the need or cover the gap area? Your family and your friends will step in to help you when you've decided that you have to make a sacrifice, whether you want to go back to school, you want to change career, and so yeah.
And if I could add to that, actually, two things that came up for me. The first one is, you do have the internet, so that's a great resource to be able to just look up other people who have also been in that same position, right? And be able to be resourceful and see who else is out there that also has had, a full-time job or maybe 2 or 3 jobs, have had kids, have maybe, they're single parent, right? So they can find some resources within their community, maybe a Facebook group of single moms that are also within their area, right? I mean, that's exactly why we have the monthly meetup groups, to be able to allow these women, and they can bring their children, to be able to allow them to network with other women to see, wow, if you could do it, then I can also do it.
And you are setting up Facebook groups related to your mission.
Yes, yes.
Correct, yeah. We're very, very popular on social media, so we'd like everyone to follow us, absolutely.
And speaking of that, how do people get involved with the Women's Empowerment Institute, whether it's looking for the resources or wanting to volunteer theirs?
Yeah, I'd love for everyone to visit our website. I mean, one of the things...
What's the website address?
www.wei-ny.org. And just come in person too, right? There's nothing like actually feeling the energy and the culture that we're creating at WEI. So attending the monthly meetings. If you know of a girl that's in need of the empowerment and the program, they can also sponsor a girl. It's $150 for the program. We also offer scholarships for girls that can't afford it or families that can't afford it. Yeah.
And do you have any events coming up?
Oh, yes, we do. We have one tomorrow. We're super excited about it. And part of the professional development, we want to empower women also with their finances. So tomorrow we have, actually, I believe he's a Mamaroneck resident. He's also on our executive board, Richard Langgruber. I always say his last name wrong.
Okay.
But we're super proud to have him on, and he's going to do a workshop about budgeting and how to invest as a woman, because we need to really take hold and charge of our finances. So I welcome everyone to come.
Great. Well, we want to thank you for joining us tonight. It's the Women's Empowerment Institute. And again, the website for it, www.wei-ny.org. Thank you so much for joining
Great.
us.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you for joining us. Stay tuned. We'll have more community stories coming right up.
A local shop in Larchmont is supporting women entrepreneurs and their businesses. On March 8th, Estelle Gourmet hosted a Women's Day event. Let's take a look.
We are very proud to empower all these ladies and also their businesses. And we have a lot of women with very beautiful projects. And when they are able to do with that and concrete to make a business is very great. So we are happy to have all these ladies here today. Being an entrepreneur is already by itself very challenging, and if you add the fact that we are women, we add other challenge, of course, because you have the family also, you need to be able to balance your family life with your business, and it's not always very easy. One of the quality we have is to be very strong and passionate with what we do. So we are not doing that only for money, but because we like it.
Here's what's happening around town. There are only 3 dates left to shop at the Mamaroneck Windsor's Farmers Market, including this Saturday, March 30th, at St. Thomas Episcopal Church from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Aside from fresh and local produce, there will be live music, cooking demos, and information tables run by community organizations. To kick off National Poetry Month in April, the Emlyn Theater will host the 18th Annual Poetry Live on Sunday, March 31st at 2:30 p.m. Sponsored by the Village of Mamaroneck Arts Council, the afternoon will feature a collection of poetry written by students. This event is private, but fret not. LMC TV will be recording and streaming the event online. Grab your dictionaries. The Friends of the Larchmont Public Library will be hosting its 7th annual Spelling Bee on April 7th. Light refreshments will be served at 3:30 p.m. and the competition will begin at 4. Interested participants can register online on the organization's website until Sunday, March 31st. And Mamaroneck High School will be hosting the Kick-In to Stop Sarcoidosis Walk and Roll to raise money for the Foundation for Sarcoidosis Research on Sunday, April 7th. Registration and check-in will begin at 9:30 a.m. and the walk will kick off at 10:15 at the high school's track field.
LMC Cast. The whole system is fine. All right, cool. I definitely would recommend doing podcasts if you are someone that likes to get something off the chest, or you want to just talk about anything in the world that just might interest you. Podcast here at LMC TV is amazing.
I hope you're listening out there.
LMC TV would like to thank local artist Jamie Lynn at Made, an art studio in Mamaroneck, for creating a beautiful community mural. Place your piece in this mural by contributing to LMC TV, the community connection that brings you local board meetings, varsity sports, and your local news. Please contribute to this community mural by going to our website and clicking on Donate. Each contributor will be listed next to the mural when it is complete. We value your appreciation of what we do. Become a single donor or as a group, go to lmctv.org. The only piece missing is you.
Ahead of tomorrow's STEMtastic event, the STEM Alliance of Larchmont Mamaroneck partnered with the One River School of Art and Design in Larchmont to create some STEAM. The local live was at the opening of the Heart of Co-op, an exhibit which celebrated the artwork done by campers in the Alliance's Summer Enrichment Program, which was on display alongside photographs of the children by Sandra Wong Juro. Reporter Lindsley Barrios has more.
Yes, it's a great collaboration that we have. We're very excited about sharing all of our student work, especially the artwork that the students published at Co-op Camp. So we feel very lucky that we're able to showcase and celebrate our work from Co-op. We now have 230 students that register, plus 55 ESY students who are part of the special ed program. And it really has become an amazing program for all students involved and the families as well. So we're very proud of it. We feel that we're providing enriching experiences, and the students are coming back to school, leveling out and not having any summer slide because of the enriching experiences that they're receiving at Co-op Camp.
So Meg from Co-op came and asked us for the rental of the space, basically. So we are donating the space for the event tonight, which we are thrilled to do. One River is fairly new to the community. We've been open about 1.5 years at this point, and we really see ourselves as a community resource, and we want to open our doors to all the different community organizations.
Is One River like a teaching school, learning school, just come in and draw something? What exactly do you guys do?
Sure. So we teach through the lens of contemporary art. So we focus on emerging artists, contemporary artists, living artists, and all the students here come for after-school programs or weekend programs, anything from pre-K all the way up through adult.
What are your thoughts on photography as an art form?
Well, I'm a photographer myself, so photography is a very valid, important art form to showcase nature, people, and to really tell stories.
So how's your experience at Co-op? Tell me about that.
It's been very fun, and it has been uniting my passions.
How long have you been taking these photographs and expressing your artwork and putting it out for people to see?
I started when I was in kinder or preschool. It at least started with a simple, a simple sketch.
So first of all, to explain, a lot of people wonder why STEM and then the A and art for STEAM. Basically, we see art as the creative or the innovative side of the science, technology, engineering, and math skills. The STEM Alliance was hired as a subcontractor by the school district to lead Co-op Summer Enrichment, starting 2 summers ago. 2019 will be our 3rd summer doing that work. And so we are paid subcontractors. The district pays a large portion of the bill for each child, but the STEM Alliance has taken on the work and taken on the responsibility of raising additional funds to really supplement the program and bring top-level STEM and STEAM education to children. The reason that that's so critical is because we serve a predominantly low-income population. Co-op Summer Enrichment is the only summer program in the Mamaroneck area for low-income children. Science, technology, engineering, and math, those are all skills that are directly connected to upward mobility. Those are where there's going to be future employability for these children, as well as higher wages. And so we really see all learners as kind of natural little STEM scientists from a young age. When we add A into that, we're really talking with A for art, we're really talking about design initiatives, innovation, entrepreneurism, and creativity. And that takes all of those STEM skills and ramps them up to a whole other level.
The Heart of Co-op opening night was a success. For the Local Live, I'm Lindsley Barrios.
LMC Varsity Sports is back for the spring season, and we've got your live coverage. For more information, you can visit lmctv.org/sports.
Do you have a news tip? Seen anything interesting around town? Is there breaking news in your community? Send your videos, comments, pictures, and tips to the Local Live, your news source of Larchmont and Mamaroneck.
Remember, if you missed Thursday's live broadcast, you can catch replays of the Local Live twice a day on this channel and find story clips on our YouTube channel. Also, be sure to follow us on Facebook to stay up to date on things you may have missed. Thank you for watching the Local Live. I'm Alexandra Garcia. Have a good night and see you next week.
This edition of The Local Live is brought to you by BizG87, an art gallery and space in Larchmont for artists and entrepreneurs. If you are interested in sponsoring this or other programs on LMC TV, contact us for more information.